some stuff to y'all too that you can keep. Hopefully we have enough for everybody in here. I'm going to go ahead and start because I know we're running a few minutes behind. Fortunately, I talk fast, so it doesn't matter. And I draw pretty fast too. Which means, now, you guys are all working, as you can see, with pencils. I work with a marker, partly because you can see it better. But most cartoonists, when they finish a drawing, they finish with a written of some kind. We start with pencil, and that's kind of what we're going to be doing in here today. Is we're just doing the starter stuff. So I highly recommend that as you draw, with the exception of the first stuff, and I'll tell you when, draw light. There's a really, really good reason for drawing light. Because when you're sketching, you're often just trying to get ideas down, and you're not going to keep all your lines. So use that little thing on the top called an eraser. And it's a lot easier to erase if your lines aren't so dark. That's not as big a deal today because you're not going to be finishing with a marker. You know, we're just going to be working with a pencil and an eraser and that kind of thing. But I just wanted y'all to be aware of that. And when you're doing your initial sketching, and even when I'm doing it up here with a marker, I tend to do it lighter just out of habit. But it's just a real good idea when you're doing your sketching to do it light because you want to be able to erase your lines, especially if you come back over with a marker to finish your drawing. And most cartoonists are big believers in that. I mean, even if our work is not going to be published, we tend to finish it in ink. You know, I mean, it's just our tool is pencil and then ink like that. I'm John Reed. I'm a cartoonist, a grown man who draws funny pictures for a living. So, what does that say about me? But I started when I was some of you guys' age, and I just never stopped. Cartoons are everywhere, so there's money to be made at it. We don't get famous. Very few of us are famous. There's not very many of us that are Walt Disney famous. Or even Jim Davis, the guy who created Garfield, famous. But you guys may not even know the name Jim Davis, and that just shows you. Most cartoonists labor in alone. Most cartoonists labor alone in their studios without a whole lot of people to tell them how wonderful they are. The way they find out they're wonderful is by the people who see their cartoons, and sometimes they don't have to meet those people. As you guys know, cartoons are on cereal boxes, all kinds of food, comic books, comic strips, movies. You know, they're everywhere in our lives. And there are literally just thousands of people like me that do this kind of thing for a living, or this kind of thing for a living that you've never heard of. And yet we're able to make a living doing it. This is called caricature. These are actual people. And what I do is I go to events, festivals, fairs, schools, hospitals. I've been to the Middle East with the troops drawing for the USO. And if you don't know where the Middle East is, it's a long way from here. I've been to Guatemala. I've drawn all over, really. And this is part of what is their favorite thing. Everybody likes to have a cartoon made of themselves. Now, whether they want to pay for it or not is another thing, and because we charge, we want money. But, you know, the point is that I basically will sit down with somebody, like this gentleman here, say, and I will, in my eye, see him as a cartoon character, and hopefully draw something that he doesn't hate so much it punches me in the face. So I do that. I mean, this guy, I swear, really did have big things. Now, obviously, everybody points this out. They weren't that big. But the whole point of caricature is, just like this guy didn't have a head shape like this, and this woman didn't have teeth and a mouth like this, but that's what you notice the most on her. I mean, look at this beautiful smile on this young lady. That's the first thing I would draw. I mean, you find the most striking characteristic about them, and that's what you exaggerate. And that's what a caricature is. Cartoons, in their own way, are caricatures of things. I mean, Scooby-Doo is a caricature of a dog. When you see a cartoon of Scooby-Doo, I mean, you know that okay, that's a really good marker. Wow, the whole thing just fell apart. It did. What the heck? Well, you know what? We'll lay that one down. Fortunately, I happen to have a whole box full of them. When you see a cartoon of Scooby-Doo, say, on there, but y'all wouldn't know it. These are people from different shows and things that I've done. Like, this guy was a biker, obviously. You know, this girl was just this lovely kind of silly type girl or whatever, cute little boy. This guy was just a really funny guy, and he like had a heart attack when he saw me drawing. And so I said, well, you know, I want to take your picture with it. He said, you do whatever you want to and all this kind of, put it on Facebook, man. And I said, whatever. I said, but I'm probably going to use it in my examples and stuff like this. And this guy sort of like it, almost circle. Well, y'all know what that is.
A node.
It's the node. And all I've done is drawn an almost circle. So, I mean, that's the great thing of it. The style comes in the way you draw them, the way you shade them, the way you color them, and all that kind of stuff. That's why my cartoons may not look exactly like your cartoons, and y'all's cartoons sitting right next to each other may not look exactly alike. Well, even when you're doing simple stuff like this, there's ways you can change it. Now, say I don't particularly want my character to be a happy one. I want him to be a sad one, so I can just draw, you know, the part of the dog right there. But I kind of like the idea of him having some really weird hair. So you remember this shape? You know, Bart Simpson type hair. You know, same kind of stuff. I'm not even crazy about the fact of him having round eyes, because nobody says you have to. But then you can always bring in the round by doing this. You know, we're having a little cross-eyed. And put the circles inside his thing. Remember the squiggly line I did? There you go. I've done nothing in this entire drawing but use the shapes that we just practiced with there. When you get really comfortable with being able to draw circles and you say, wow, that actually looks like a circle, or wow, that's a pretty good straight line, or wow, that looks like a good wave, or a triangle, or a box, then you're able to create characters of all different shapes. Now bear in mind, you've obviously got some characters who have heads that are shaped like this. But that's still basically two circles that have come together. And look, I can so easily make something funny out of that. And still make it fit inside the shape of the original thing that I was drawing. I'm not even sure what the heck that is. I guess a pear or a bowling ball. You know, and then you can even put, yeah, peanut. I mean, it could be a peanut. I mean, you can take anything and make a cartoon character. One of the things that I've done for years and years and years is take regular objects, just regular kind of. Let's see, let me think of just something. A tube of toothpaste. Here, that's a good example. I take something, what I'll do is basically get the shape down. I want it to be. You know, those are just the wrinkles of where the toothpaste is bent over. But this is how logos for different products are created. You might notice on most of the eyes that I do, I just out of habit more than anything else. You see the little white things inside those? Those are just reflections. You know, that's not their eyeballs or anything like that. It's even people with the darkest eyes, like I'm looking at this young man here and this light's coming down, I can see the little reflection, you know, in the eye. And that we exaggerate that in the cartoon. It kind of makes the eyes look shiny, gives it a little bit of light. Sometimes you might put a little fold underneath his eye to make it look a little bit more realistic. And then, of course, you have a lot of fun with the eyebrows. You know, I mean, nobody has eyebrows that look like that. But I draw them on there and you know they're eyebrows. It's not like I have to tell you that's his eyebrows. I mean, you know when I do that, you know. So you've got this goofy-looking cartoon character that you've created. And that's how a lot of characters are created for products and for companies that, you know, sell different products. And they might say, look, we want something to appeal to kids. And so what they'll do is they make our toothpaste tube have a character, you know, and they've done that for years with syrups and soaps and everything else on the design. If it was something they wanted to appeal to y'all, the younger people, then they'll put a cartoon character. As they get older, they get away to more mature type features. As it turns out, that kind of stuff. Now, here's what I want y'all to do. Taking your sheets in front of you, the first thing that I want you to do is to try to draw. Now, really, really light. I mean, really light. Barely there. It's a great way to start. Now, the reason that I have this cross like this is because he's looking straight ahead.